we met in 2012, and here, do you think that this text is hilarious? I texted Chris earlier.
Chris.
He says, ask Sean about coffee. He is a coffee snob. He was obsessed over finding a good cup of coffee while shooting in Florida.
Which is freaking impossible, by the way. I'm sorry.
Just that point, I grew up in Florida, and so I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah.
I lived in New York City for years, and they do a damn good cup of coffee.
Right. I think we had to literally travel all the way out to Winter Park from Kissimmee, which is like a 40-minute drive for a quality cup of coffee. So, yes.
So I've been following your career over the years, and I think I was totally off topic from film, but I was the most excited when I saw that Tangerine was shot on an iPhone, and I just thought that that was such a celebration to filmmakers that whatever's accessible in front of you can become the means to make something that goes to festivals.
Yeah.
When that first happened, was that a message you were trying to send? Like, how did that occur?
It was quite organic. It came from a place in which it was a budgetary constraint, but immediately when we thought of it, you take that, you take that that sort of obstacle and you make the best of it. You find your aesthetic. So the night that we were thinking about shooting on the iPhone to save money, we also thought about what it would actually do for us, which means, shooting clandestinely. If I was shooting with first timers, it was removing intimidation. There was so much, it's a different medium altogether, but it's just as valid of a medium, and you can find beauty in all mediums. That's what I like to preach.
I love that. And then bringing it to tonight with Kodak.
Yeah.
What does it mean? I mean, you've shot on film before.
Shot on film before, and I will definitely shoot on film again. I shot my newest film on 35 and had
Florida project.
Yes.
Okay.
And had an amazing time and an amazing experience with a wonderful DP, Alexis Zabe, who's here tonight. And I have to be honest, it gave us something that was unobtainable in digital. See, that's the thing. I'm an advocate for all mediums because you can find beauty and you can find something that's unique and benefits in all mediums. So it's really just about, hopefully, it's hard. This is a big discussion. We could talk all night about this, but what it comes down to is this. I like to say that if you're in a place where you're starting off, you don't have the money, pull the iPhone out of your pocket and you can shoot a film.
Right.
If you are established and you have the means, let's keep this beautiful medium alive. And I'm talking about celluloid, I'm talking about film, because it's the medium that created this art. And we have to remember that. And there's that unique organic quality that happens in the photochemical process that you simply cannot replicate or duplicate in any way on digital. And no matter what anyone tells me, I don't believe it. So yeah, I think I'm at a place right now where I'm saying, let's keep film alive. Let's preach about how great it is. And if you have the means to shoot on it, which it really doesn't cost that much more, do it.
Something about you is that you very steadily have projects come out. I mean, the first one was 2012 when you had Starlet.
No, I go way back.
No, that I was familiar with. I know you go way back. But then it was just a couple years later you had Tangerine and now the Florida project. A lot of directors make a great film and then it's kind of hard to keep that momentum going, but I see you have a lot of momentum because that's when I first met you and I wasn't familiar with your work before that, but how do you keep that? Because I think that's hard work, right? Like I see there's great directors that have a movie and then they don't do another one for like a decade, it's hard, right?
I mean, I think the filmography is very important to a director, When I look at the directors that I truly admire, it's one after another. And you have to give it your all every time. You have to beat your last one. So my next one, I hope, kicks the Florida project's ass. You know what I mean? It's about always upping yourself. It's about always improving. It's about always learning. So, and really it's about starting from scratch too. It's a lot of pressure. Like every time you're like...
That's what I want to ask you. Like I'm doing the Oscars on Sunday. I'm like kind of dreading it. Like I'm kind of looking forward to Monday when it's just over.
Yeah.
But that's a bad thing. There's just like you kind of want to get to that point where you can just exhale. Like there's so much going on. How do you feel? Like, what are your tips for sort of like, you look so cool, calm, and collected.
But see, you have to understand, when Willem was the only one who got the nomination for the Oscars, we were able to take a deep breath because our work, we became less, and we had to do less appearances, and I could get back to the gym, and I could start sleeping again, et cetera, et cetera.
You live in LA now?
I do.
Okay.
So, I mean, there are lots of filmmakers who are, nominated. I'm sure that Greta, Jordan, all those are so exhausted at this point. I can't even imagine what they're going through, quite honestly. But yeah.
Do you have the inkling of idea for your next project, or is it?
We are thinking about ideas, and one of them actually involves Chris Brigash. I'll be co-writing with him again on one of them, but we're not sure yet. We're going to give it a little while. It's better. It's for me. I want to take the time to let the dust settle, and then do it in a responsible way.
You can breathe it.
Yes, yeah.
And very lastly, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this. It's like literally top on my list to see is the Florida Project, especially because I read so much about it. I heard about it. I'm from Florida. I lived there for 17 years. But now that like I'm interviewing you, I'm kind of mortified I didn't get a chance to see it yet, to be honest. But, so this question might be weird since I didn't see it, but what was it about Florida and shooting in Florida? Because Florida gets a lot of flack. I left Florida at 17. I didn't love Florida. I still don't love Florida. But what was it about Florida?
There was this situation that we're focusing on is an issue that's nationwide, but there was something very specific to the Kissimmee and Orlando area, and that was this juxtaposition. The issue that I'm speaking of is the hidden homeless. This is basically homeless individuals and families with children who are still keeping a roof over their head, but they're technically homeless. So they use motels, they use friends, families, cars to stay off the streets. And what we're focusing on is this very sad juxtaposition of children growing up in budget motels right outside of the tourist capital of the world, Orlando, Florida. So that's why we chose Florida.
When it's close to so much wealth of theme park.
It's literally in the shadow of the theme parks, yes.
Well, the director officially sold me on seeing the Florida Project. So.
But I have to say, if you can still see it projected, which you can, I believe, I think it's still floating around some theaters. See it on the big screen because it really does. The 35mm looks beautiful, and we shot it for the big screen.
I can't wait to see what you do next.
Cool.
No pressure.
All right, no pressure.
Let it breathe for a minute. Thank you.